Jack succeeded here, 20 bigs on the button. What do you want to do?
I think I'd probably fold, actually, at this spot. Maybe open Jack 8 suited plus.
Okay, yeah. So we kind of talked about this earlier. How I think you just want to try and play more hands profitably.
Yeah.
Especially in position. I think if your opponents are going to start, playing really well against you, then fair enough. Like if they start jamming a lot, then it's just not going to be a great situation for you. Let's get rid of some of these. But I think you can actually play, something along these lines. The solvers are going to start limping some of these hands, but I think you can just min raise, and I think that's absolutely fine. The reason why you'd want to limp some of these hands at this stack depth is because your opponents are going to start jamming on you, and you have to fold. Whereas when you limp, it's not as great a jam because they're only winning one big blind from you rather than two. So yeah, I think you can just min raise. I mean, if you're playing against aggressive players, you might have to start adopting a limping strategy. But I think to try and keep things simple, I would probably be looking to open something along these lines. So yeah, Jack 6 suited is definitely in there.
Definitely in there, yeah.
Okay. Another big blind spot then. He opens for 2.05. What do you want to do here?
I think probably flat.
Yeah, I like it. So yeah, again, we don't want to make this video okay, I think I've sort of said enough about defending the big blind.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, trying to work out why maybe you're not doing it is going to be really, really important.
I think I'd flatten that especially there with 8-7 off, probably for the complete opposite, in which I said I'd fold the ace-6 off.
Okay.
Just purely because we're going to probably have more equity against his range, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be easier to play. You're going to be dominated less often, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think, you can just defend both because they're both, going to play reasonably well. Even though, with the a6 you are going to be dominated, sometimes he has, pocket kings and the flop comes ace high and, you win. And sometimes it can come, you flop trips with the 6 and you win a huge pot. So,
sure.
And sometimes ace high, I mean, unlikely with a6 off that you can defend if you don't hit the board. But of course, you have a whole range of hands to be able to continue versus a c-bet. So yeah, it just kind of depends on what the flop is and what he decides to do and how big he bets. Okay, so this next spot, 19 big blinds, pocket queens, under the gun opens, you're in the hijack. What do you want to do?
I think probably just shove. Under the gun open. Yeah, I think, probably just shove.
Cool. What would you do with aces and kings?
Probably the same, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so I think you can flat aces and kings.
Okay.
Just in the way that then you can start flatting other hands. Maybe hands are not quite profitable enough to shove in this situation. I don't know, like an ace-9 suited or king-queen off. Those kind of hands, maybe not. You've still got 4 players left to act. You've still got to get through the original raiser. But yeah, I'd be shoving queens here. I'd be shoving ace-king off and ace-queen off. And then, jacks, 10s, 9s, probably 8s, maybe even, it depends how wide he's opening, but, you can go lower than that as well. What you actually chose to do is go 5x, or 2.5x his raise, but to 5 big blinds. Looking at this now, what do you think?
I just think it makes us look really, really nutted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was going to use the word bladed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is it. Like, you'll see a lot of players do this when they have aces, kings, and queens, and you can actually make some pretty big folds in this situation. And we don't really want to let him do that. We want to shove here, and he's got pocket 7s maybe. A pocket 8s that don't fold. But in this situation, maybe he makes a really big hero fold because this looks so strong. Yeah, so I think I'll just go ahead and shove. I think your option is here really just to flat or to jam, and any kind of less than all in 3-bet is just going to look super strong. Maybe if you did it with some less than nutted hands, you're going to get more folds in this situation.
Yep.
might be worth thinking about. But on the whole, I think, yeah, I would just jam here and flat aces and kings and flat a few hands, like I said, king, queen off, ace nine suited, something like that, that wasn't quite good enough to jam.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Pocket nines here.
Probably, I think, open, maybe 2.5x, and then recall a shove.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think you definitely can induce here. I think I would probably just go to 3x. We don't want to make it too cheap for him to call in position.
Sure. Yeah.
I also think you can induce by limping. So if we talked about earlier, like there was a 10-4 off, there was a 10-2 suited. If you're going to limp those hands, like it's worth limping these kind of hands as well, so that when he does raise or jam, you have a very, very easy call. I think it's probably going to make more money as a limp. It really depends on your opponent. Like if he's someone to attack limps, then definitely just go ahead and limp. If he's someone who is going to jam over an open, then definitely open.
Yeah, I think he was playing pretty loose from what I remember. I think he was a bit crazy in all honesty.
Okay. And then obviously you've got some hands that you want to go ahead and jam, and you can jam here, like it is going to be profitable, but I think it's probably going to be more profitable to limp or to raise. So you did jam, and we can't say, okay, it's not making you money, but again, maybe it's not making you as much money as another line could.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so here we've got ace queen suited, 18 bigs. We open. Big blind calls. Flop comes ace high. What do you want to do here?
Yep. So definitely c-betting. We'll just go a third.
Yep, I like it. I think you have to c-bet here. I think if he has an ace, we want to get a double up, right? And if we do anything to prevent that happening, let's say that we check and the run out's not so good, we're missing out again on an opportunity to double up and give ourselves a better opportunity in this tournament. So you did actually check in game. Turn is the jack of clubs. What do you want to do now?
Well, now I think I'd probably bet, but maybe a little bit bigger than a third, maybe half pot.
Okay. Yeah. What are you trying to target now?
I suppose if he's got some kind of jack X in his range, maybe some 8x that he might decide just to come along with.
Yeah. What about straight draws and flush draws?
Oh yeah, sure thing.
Okay. Cool.
Still a bit confused as to why I didn't see about the flop.
Yeah, and again, like I said earlier on, this is the power of or the value of sort of reflection and review, is that you sort of hone in on these spots and thinking, why didn't I go ahead and bet? I know it's a bet. Yeah. In the same way that you knew a lot of the spots were calls in the big blind. So yeah, I think if you're going to bet, you're trying to target a jack or some draws, you can you can go bigger than a third. You can go more than a half pot. Especially when you check back here. I just don't think, if he's got king jack and you bet 3.5 big blinds, I don't think he's going to fold. If you bet 7 big blinds, he's probably going to fold a jack. If you bet 1 big blind, he's definitely going to call a 3. So you kind of go somewhere in the middle, half pot, maybe a little bit more, and target the jack X, maybe some 8x. He still has some ace X as well.
Yeah.
And then he's got draws as well, like 9-10. He's got flush draws. So yeah, I think
the thought process was, when I checked back on the flop, I thought I'm so strong here. I'll try and get to 2 streets from the turn and the river.
Yeah,
I think that's probably why I checked back. It's the only kind of logical thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much a drawy flop, is it? So it kind of I can see the logic there, that you're not going to, a lot of the time we want to get our bets in on the flop and the turn, because by the river there's no more cards to come and people aren't going to pay you off chasing a draw. But it's not really the case in this on this flop. But you're not going to hit this board that often.
No.
But it's obviously a better board for your range than it is for his. Again, he's going to jam some ace X, he's going to jam some pairs. So, he has some weak ace X in this spot. He can have some strong ace X. We'll look at that in a minute. But most of the time he's going to have some 8x that can't fold if you bet a third pot. He's going to have some gut shots, like 4-5, that can't fold. And he's going to have some king highs as well with a backdoor flush draw that you know, if he's good, he'll float with, because he knows that if he folds those, he's then, you know, he's folding too often. So yeah, I'd probably go like 3.5 here. Still get an ace to call, still get jack to call, still get some draws to call. Okay, river's the 3 of clubs. He checks. What do you want to do now?
Probably. Can we bet fold?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's, you know, a lot of people might be watching this now and going, how on earth would you bet fold? But, you know, if you bet here and he jams, like, how realistic is it that he's jamming a worse hand? Like, how realistic is it that he's going to be bluffing? He's going to have a flush, he's going to have a full house sometimes, not that often, given the way the hand's played out. And then he can have, you know, he can have ace jack or ace 8, I guess, as well. So yeah, I think you absolutely can. And if you do bet here, you know, you're trying to get value from ace X.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, so what sort of size, like if you're trying to get value from ace X, like a weaker ace X that now, you know, might think that it's chopping with your other ace X that isn't, you know, ace jack plus or ace 8.
Maybe about half pot.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. So he did check in game. He did end up having an ace, and once again, like, we don't want to be results orientated, but these are the situations, you know, if you manage to get 3 bets in, he probably doesn't fold, and you're sitting there now with I don't know how many you started the hand with. You're sitting there with 38 big blinds, rather than 24. So yeah, let's just have a quick look in Pio and see what it thinks on the flop, the turn, the river. Okay, so we're in Pio again. Let's have a look at our flop strategy. So yeah, it generally wants us just to go ahead and bet. You can see here it says check 0.86%. I think if we run the solver for longer, this would just go to 0, and we'd just be either betting big or betting small. It does actually want us to go ahead and bet big, and I think a lot of players in this situation wouldn't bet big. They would just go ahead and bet small with their entire range, which is fine.
You know, generally I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally I would bet big, I think, on that board.
Yeah, I think it's
makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I think, you know, big would be what's 400 and four big blinds. So I guess you get value from ace X, like his 8X probably don't fold, and you make it quite expensive for gut shots to call. Plus you have a lot more fold equity when you bet that big. Let's just have a quick look. So if we did bet this much, you can see that not like most of his 8X are calling. There's some folding going on as well. So even some of his 3X are going to call as well. And there's a hell of a lot of folding. So when you're bluffing, like, you just get a huge chunk of his hands to fold. You can see up here, folding almost 70% of his range. So, you know, which is amazing. When we do go ahead and bet small, he's still folding almost 60%, which is great. But we managed to, you know, suddenly now all of the 8X are going to call and all of the 3X are going to call. So we are getting more value from those hands. And then if he does have an ace, you know, some of them he's supposed to just raise and get in, and which is great for us. And literally, like, ace 8 and ace 3 are the only hands we're really worried about. I guess 8-3 suited as well. But he doesn't really have any hands that we're worried about in this situation.
No.
So yeah, I just want to take you through if we had bet small, let's just go back here. Yeah, so it looks like it wants to bet small with ace queen of hearts. I think you can see in the bottom right hand corner it says B172, which is like bet 1.7 bigs about 75% of the time. So I think I would do that. I believe it was the jack of clubs. He doesn't do much leading. We check, and then it wants you to go ahead and bet. Again, it wants you to bet small. See, it says B322 on the sort of top right quadrant with ace queen of hearts pretty much all the time. If you do that, like, most of the time, he is now just going to get it in with his ace X. This is what Pio believes. I think in practice, he's probably just going to call with ace 9 off. I think a lot of players just play too passively in these situations and allow you to realize equity with, well, you know, whatever you're choosing to bet on the turn. So he does call, and 3 of clubs on the river, he checks. And then you can see that he just wants you to, you know, you should be triple barreling with any ace that you get to the river with. And if we look at his range for calling, I mean, the thing is, he's not going to be calling with these hands very often. But if you look, like, he doesn't fold any ace-x. And given that your queen is going to play as a kicker, like, you suddenly get all of these, you win against all of these hands, which is a great situation for you. And again, like, we just don't want to be leaving money on the table by not going for it. Okay, this might be the last big blind defend hand in this group. What do you want to do here?
I think again, probably fold.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I think you just definitely want to go ahead and call. It's only one big blind, getting almost 4 to 1. You're going to flop some decent top pairs when you've got 2 reasonably big cards, and once you get to be in a short stack, like, it's okay to hit top pair and go with it. And if you run into it, you run into it, because it's tough to make a hand in Hold'em if you ever watched the WSOP coverage. They always say that. But if flop comes queen 6-3 and he bets, well, you're happy to check raise, get it in, I guess. Especially if the board is drawy, and you can also deny him equity, deny him from seeing turns and rivers that could improve his hand. So yeah, I would definitely call here. Also, you're going to flop some decent draws as well, like open-ended straight draws that you can just check raise, check jam. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't be folding here. So I think that is a common theme. I would say just facing a min raise, just defend a lot wider. I do see that there are some players that take it to the extreme and they end up defending like queen deuce off and 10-3 off. I wouldn't go that far, but I do think you can absolutely defend a lot of the hands we talked about earlier on. So we can defend like all suited hands, because we get to to check jam. Maybe we do get to go as wide as some of these hands, but yeah, we just don't want to be folding too often versus a min raise. And you still get to fold some of these garbage hands down here. The other thing is, obviously, it's coming from under the gun, so we can defend slightly tighter. But obviously, then if the raise comes from the button, we can start defending a lot more liberally. Cool. All right. So 17 bigs on the button, ace-6 off. What do you want to do here?
It's interesting. I think looking at the stack sizes, maybe leaning towards a jam.
Yep, love it. I would jam here. I think you jam a lot of offsuit ace-x hands here. You can jam like your worst suited aces, and you can jam like deuces through 6s probably, and then induce with 7s plus. I mean, you could probably jam 7s as well. So I think jamming here is probably the highest EV line. I think at 17 bigs you definitely can start limping a decent number of hands, but these kind of hands, ace-6 off, ace-9 off, ace queen off even, I would just go ahead and jam.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and then this is the last hand. This guy jams for 11 bigs. We've got king jack off in the small blind. What do you think here?
Probably fold, I think.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's close.
Let's just look at it in HRC and see what it thinks. Okay, so here's the spot in HRC. This has him shoving 38% of hands, and then it wants you to call off with 23%. You can see king jack off making quite a lot of money in this situation.
Okay.
So I think we do want to be getting it in this wide. I mean, you can absolutely pass on the lowest EV hands. I mean, all of these look reasonable. Like queen jack off, for example, like you could just pass on that. I don't think you need to make that call. But there's there's a ton of hands in here that are making a lot of money. And king jack off, 0.8 big blinds. If we fold here, and again look at it in terms of 100 times, we're going to lose 80 big blinds per 100. Right. So it's just a lot of that's a huge edge to want to pass up on. So you could probably just take the bottom end of this range out, jack 10 suited, maybe some ace-6 off, ace-5 off, and then go with the rest. Now, obviously, this is if he's shoving all of these hands. Yeah. Now, there's a chance that he might limp or he might min raise with the top of his range. So it's actually might even work out better for you if he doesn't end up jamming these hands. He just wants to go ahead and raise them. So if we run the simulation again, you see now King Jack off is worth 1.12 bigs because he doesn't have aces, kings, queens, all those hands that are doing really, really well against you. So I think I'd be quite happy to get it in, unless you know, of course, that he's just not shoving anywhere near this range, and then maybe you can make a tight fold. But I think this is I think I would be getting it in here against anyone who's shown themselves to be competent.